Hey guys, welcome back to Stinson Farms. Hey, today is July the 2nd. We're up at the farm doing a little check-in on our corn. And we got the nitrogen put on it last week, and it started raining pretty swiftly after that. And we've had rain every day since. And it has really kicked in and grew. This is on our farm. And this particular corn we're looking at right here was planted on June the 2nd. So a month ago today. And it's looking pretty good. I haven't got it sprayed yet because it's been raining. I was going to spray it right behind the nitrogen or right before, ever how it worked out. It just happened to work out. We got the nitrogen down, but I hadn't got it sprayed. And we've got some pigweed in it. We got some cocoa bar coming in it. It's not like this everywhere. This is a bad spot here on this end of this field. Most of it's still fairly clean, but I've got to get in here and spray it. If you can see right now, the corn's hitting me almost waist high. Hip high, and that's about as big as it needs to be in me spray it. So I may have to get the co-op to come in here and spray it, but it is way too muddy to get in it right now, and it's about to cover the rows over. You can't see the ground, which is going to help on the weeds and the grass, but it's going to hurt on getting them sprayed and killed. But all in all, the corn looks really good. Just need to get these weeds sprayed and get these killed. This field right here we're looking at, this was planted on June the 3rd. So, day behind the other, but it looks pretty nice. Now this field here was planted on the 2nd of June. And as you can see, it is much cleaner. This is where we was in here spreading nitrogen and run over some corn, but you can see this field's much cleaner. One down there, it does have some Johnson grass in it and a spot or two, but it's just very small. It ain't an acre or so altogether that's got any Johnson grass in it down there, but this here is pretty clean. It's got some stuff that's coming in it, but it's small. But we definitely need to get in here and get it sprayed. But if you can see, the mud sticking to my boots is pretty muddy. Some pretty good looking corn. I'm pretty tickled with it. We're going to look at a couple more spots here on our farm, and then we're going to go over to Joe's and look at that. And it's about a week ahead of this. And we got the nitrogen and everything on it a couple weeks ago, and it's really come out and doing good too. So here's another portion of the 23-acre field that was planted on the 3rd. Again, it's growing good, looking really nice. I'm gonna go back to the back side and check a couple of the small fields, and we'll head over to Joe's. Yeah, I'm real happy with how this is looking. It has really come on since we put the nitrogen on it. And I knew it would, but it was fairly dry at the time we put the nitrogen on it. And we've gotten, I don't know for sure, but in the excess of 4 or 5 inches of rain in the last week. So It's gotten a lot of water on it since we put the nitrogen on it, and it is really come on. Well, we're gonna head over to Joe's, and I want you to look at that. So this is our rented farm. This is actually the field that we planted on May the 6th, and we had to replant. We replanted on May the 29th. And you see this taller corn right here. This is some of it that actually came up and lived from the first planting. And you can look out in there and you'll see a stalk or two here and there. It looks kind of hairy because some of it that did live, it's 4 weeks ahead of the other, but there's not very much of it. And we replanted almost the entire field. And this corn was kind of yellowish, didn't have a real good color before we put the nitrogen on it, but it's really starting to come out. It's darkened up, the color's a lot better. It's looking pretty good. It just looks pitiful out here with that tall and short corn, but if you look at the tall corn, that's about all that came up, so we had to replant it. This field here we planted on May 27th, and I don't know if the camera's picking it up or not, but some of the top leaves we burned a little bit with nitrogen, but that's okay. It'll come out of that. It's not gonna hurt a thing. But it's really come on. It's got the ground covered pretty well now, and that corn's about waist high. I'm real proud. I was trying real hard to make this come out and make a crop, and I think it's going to do all right. So here's a little corn up on its upper side. It was come up from the first planting. But the vast majority of it did not, so. So this is the other end of the field we was just in. We call this the middle field because it's in the middle. But we got the field over here out on the road and the middle field, and then we've got the lower field, which is really all one field. He just had some fences where he had them cross fenced in here, and it's just between the fences. But other than that, it's really all one field. But this corn has come out and done really well. I was really worried about this farm, which if you've been following the channel, you know the situation during the spring was just like everybody else's situation in this area. It was dry early. We got a lot of rain, and it rained and it rained, and it stayed muddy for 4, 5, 6 weeks. And when we could finally get back in it, it got dry and it went to the other extreme. So a lot of the early stuff that was planted really suffered because of the wet conditions. Some of the later stuff that was planted really suffered because of the dry conditions. And now we're back in another spell of wet. It's been raining for a week again now, so But I'm really tickled with it. It looks good, and I think we're gonna make some corn here. Now this is the field that we call field by the road, because it's out by the road. If you can see the houses and stuff over there. It's about 14 acres in this field, and it is about as good as what we just looked at there in the middle field, about the same. And out on the far end, actually, and we won't go out there, but it actually looks a little better out there than it does up here. But this end of the field's a little more wet, and this end of the field was a hay field, and the other end of the field was not. It was just some ground that was left standing out, so it had a lot of the foreign matter and stuff that gets collected over time with everything dying. Was a lot more than this field, because everything here was being taken off of it every year. But nonetheless, it's going to turn out, and it's looking pretty good, and I'm really tickled with it at this point. I'm not obsessed with a particular yield. I've got in my mind what I'd like to hit and what I wish it would do and what it needs to do, and those are different figures. And what it needs to do, I think at this point it's looking like we should have a pretty good shot at it doing that. And we ought to be able to make a little money with this, and it should produce enough to allow us to do that. And it may surprise me, it may do a little better, but yet we're still early in the year. We've got a whole lot of time of growing yet, and a lot of weather yet to contend with. So there's a possibility of things not turning out as the way they look right now, but right now it's looking good. Now guys, I just wanted to bring you by and give you an update on the crop. It's been in the ground about a month now, and we're just getting around to doing a video on it. But it's growing, it's taking off, and I think we're going to have some corn. So looking forward to getting the harvest equipment out here and getting in it this fall, and we'll see how it turns out. But right now we've done about all to it we can do. It's out of our hands at this point. It's at the mercy of the weather and the rain and the sunshine and whatever God gives us and whatever he thinks we need. But hopefully we can make a good crop. Like I said earlier, we still got a spray on our place out there, and we've only got a few spots that's bad, but I want to get over all of it and spray. But I'd like to be doing that now, but I can't get in it, it's too wet. Hopefully in the next couple of days we can, and we can get in there and get it sprayed before the corn gets much bigger. But guys, I really appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching, thank you for hanging around, and as always, we'll see you next time.